Okay, so our scene looks pretty good so far, but it's a little bit sparse. Well, building objects is kind of fun and kind of interesting. It can also be really time consuming. And to that end, I've built a bunch of ready-made models that you can bring in. So what you do is you come over on the T drive and in Art, you'll now find the 3D models folder. In that folder, you'll find two different folders with two different types of models. Well, they're basically the same. The only thing is that these models are colored. In other words, they have the materials on them, and they're stored in the form of max files. With these, what you see is pretty much what you get. So in other words, the model will look just like that. In the non-colored models, things are just a little bit different in that the models won't necessarily, they'll look the same, they just won't have exactly the same coloring on them. In fact, most of them are just gray. The other big difference is that in the colored models, there's a few hundred. In the non-colored models, there's a few thousand. So what you'd have to do if you used a non-colored model, you just have to put a material on it. Okay, so let's go into a colored models and let's get some things to put onto our table. So I'll take let's say the bottle of Coca-Cola. Now don't drag the picture, drag the file. Take that bottle of Coca-Cola and merge. There we go. We've got a bottle of Coca-Cola, and you'll see it in a second. How about a bottle of coffee? Once again, dragging that in and merge. How about this bowl of fruit? So don't drag the picture. The picture is just to show you what it's a picture of. Take the file, just drag it over. When this little dialog box comes up, just say merge. And maybe something to put on the floor. How about this box? Okay, we'll just put this over, maybe in the corner over here. And these things we're going to place up on our table. Remember, use the place tool. Makes it really easy. So we've got that on our table, and this one's on our table, and this one's on our table. And just like before, if you wanted to copy them, we could just simply hold down the Shift key and do a Shift copy. You can rename it if you'd like. Okay, I'm going to go from my camera view to my perspective view. That way we can get a little bit of a closer look. Okay, not looking too bad. The objects look a little bit small, but then again, we built the table and the chair is kind of big. Although you could expand them, for instance, on this bowl of fruit. I could just go to my uniform scale and make it a little bit bigger. Let's take a picture and see what that looks like. Not too bad. Okay, now let's take a look at some of the non-colored models. So what if I was to go in here and maybe grab an armchair? And I'll grab an armchair that obviously has a picture on it, like this one right here, ZC. I'm just going to drag this one. Now, you see this has been saved in a different format. And what you do with these, let's zoom out a little bit. We have a place to put it. What you do with these is just drag it in, just like before. Remember, the file, not the picture. And there it is. Here we can really kind of see that my table and chairs are kind of huge. But, you know, here too, what we could do is we could just make it a little bit bigger. There we go. That's looking a little bit better, maybe. And I think that's a little bit below ground here. I'm going to go F for front so I can see that. Yeah, that's a little bit low. In another lesson, I'll teach you how to move this gizmo around. Although, honestly, it's really not very hard here. So let's take a look. So you see how the gizmo here, what we can do is we can move the gizmo, place it in a different location other than where it's at on a model. So for instance, I'll go over here, you see, to where it says hierarchy, next to the modify tab, hierarchy, and we're going to say effect pivot only. And here I could center it to the object. That put it right dead center. And then I think I'll bring it right on down to the ground. Let's zoom in. Actually, the thing is a little bit above, so we'll get it right there. When we've got it just how we want it, we're going to hit this again. And there we go. Now if I said, okay, zero that out, see how that brought that chair right to the bottom. Anyways, back to perspective. So let's say we want to color that chair, because that chair is not the same as this. Well, I'm not sure if I happen to have this cloth in my images, at least not yet. So I'll choose something else to put on there. Okay, so in images, I think maybe something like this geometric pattern right here. Alrighty, well, first thing we'll have to do back here, for this we're going to have to make a material just like we did for the table. And so I'll go into my material editor, get rid of anything that I happen to have there already, and build a new material. So here's the standard material. I'm going to bring it over and attach it to the chair. It shows it in gray. I know I'm going to put a picture on it, so while I have that selected, I might as well just come up here where it has my views. Right in between there is that show button, and it turns red and blue over here. Now let's bring that picture in. There we go. And I'll attach it to the diffuse color. Okay, so we should be seeing it over here. Well, we're not exactly. It did change. It's no longer that total gray color, but it's not showing the picture. So remember, when something is a simple cube or something like that, Max can probably figure out what you want. But if it's a little bit more complex, you might need to put a UVW map on it. Okay, well, we've got this built. Let's put that away for now. And with this selected, going to my Modify tab, I'm going to put the UVW modifier on it. Okay, all the way towards the bottom because they are alphabetical. And UVW map. There it is. Oh, look at that. Well, it did a pretty good job right off the bat. But I think we could do even better than that. Okay, so remember the UVW map comes with a gizmo. And that gizmo, I think I'll change from that planar, in other words, just that flat plane that's stretching the picture out, to a box, because the chair is a little bit more box shape. And what's more, I think I'll tile it. Remember, these ones are meant to be tiled. How about if we go, let's say 3, 3, and 3. Go to my top level here, click off. Oh, well, that looks pretty good, actually. Pretty good, except maybe these legs. I think we could do better on the legs, too. Okay, so here, before we go any further, since we like it just how it is, I'm going to collapse the stack. Remember that from the last lesson, collapsing the stack. Very easy. All you have to do is right-click in here, go down where it says Collapse All, and now this UVW map is baked in. That's just how Max knows to read the picture on here. But let's change those legs. Okay, I'm going to isolate this chair for a moment. Remember, the isolate is right down here. There it goes. And let's see, I'm going to select these feet. Now, I'd say that we could probably use the elements because the models are oftentimes made up of different objects that were turned into shapes, which were, put put together like a compound object, like we did the chairs actually. So we were able to just separate just the elements. You see, I was able to select all those really easily. Okay, so with the elements selected, I think what I'm going to do is start to build a multi-sub object material. So I've already got my standard material that I was using for the chair fabric. I think what I'll do is I'll just go to that multi-sub object, get one of those, right? Plug this into the number 1 spot. Meanwhile, selecting this, I'm going to give it just 2 because I just want the fabric and the feet. So the set number, I'm going to take that down to 2. Say OK. And here, for the feet, get another standard material. Okay, so far this material is applied to the chair. What we're going to have to do is apply the multi-sub to the chair. Okay, doesn't look like it changed anything, but let's see. So, down here we have a set ID of 2. Well, that's perfect, isn't it? We just got lucky on that one. So if I click off of this, yeah, I see that they're gray. Now I'm just curious over here, if I was to go back to my elements and select this, see it's 1. So we just got lucky. That was perfect because that's 1. And then the other ones are 2. Okay, so let's put some wood on those legs. And I'll just go back to here and to wood. And I think this wood would be, ooh, maybe this wood right here. What the heck, you know, you do whatever you want. But this is just an example of how to do things. And I want to show that into the viewport. Okay, let's take a look. Max can be frustrating sometimes. Well, that wood grain is, you know, very obviously not doing the exact right thing. So here's where we could either say, well, you know, good enough for, you know, because it's never going to be really seen up close. If it was up close, sure, put a UVW map on it. But otherwise, you know what? I wouldn't even bother. Okay, let's end the isolation. All right. So we got that. And let's go back to our camera mode. That's pretty good. Let's go ahead and just move this thing around somewhere. Let's say we'll go over here. Move this one over here, maybe. And we're going to go, yeah, back over here, maybe. Oh, maybe turn it. It's a little unnatural. There it is. All right, maybe look at it from the top, see that nothing is doing bad. Let's take off that ceiling. Yeah, that's all looking pretty good. Let's see, probably maybe a little bit closer to the wall, I'd imagine. And the chair, maybe something like that, I'd imagine. All right, now... here we go. Okay, let's take another picture. Not too shabby, and we can see the little shadows going on right here underneath things. Everything looks pretty good. Why not? So go ahead and save this. Save it in Majaz, and we're going to go back to, where were we? Oh, to art and to the period, and then this is project 2D. So let me see, Kuhn Robert, because you want your last and your first, your period number, and project. And that's 2 and D. And the format is a JPEG. And we will save. Okay, all good. Next time we're going to bring in characters, and that really brings the scene alive. Oh, save, save. There we go. Okay.